Turning now to your community focus, we're joined twice a month here on 12 News at 4 by Education Commissioner Angélica Infante-Green to talk about the latest headlines in the Rhode Island education world. She's joining us now via Zoom. Commissioner, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So first, I want to start with something that we're hearing about just over the border in Massachusetts, some supply chain issues impacting school lunches. Is this something that Rhode Island families should be worried about too?
No, we're not experiencing that, but it's a national issue. What we are experiencing is not having as many varieties as we're used to having. But we are not experiencing that. We won't let that happen.
That is certainly welcome news. Last week, the governor announced a pilot program called Test and Stay. It's aimed at cutting down on the number of kids that are missing school because they might have, say, a single symptom of COVID, like a runny nose or a headache. Where do things stand with getting that Test and Stay program off the ground?
So we're working with districts that are interested in piloting. So that's where we are right now. And basically what that means is administering a test in the school. And if the child is negative, the student is negative, then they stay in the school building. So it would reduce quarantining. But we're working with districts to organize it because, it requires manpower.
Can you say which districts have expressed interest and when that might actually start to happen?
So it's a number of districts. I don't have them offhand, but we're thinking about it as soon as next week.
Okay, so as soon as next week, instead of having to quarantine at home if they exhibit a symptom, kids might be able to just get a test in their classroom instead.
Correct.
Okay. Other states, though, have been doing this, Commissioner, from the get-go. So why did Rhode Island wait until now to even begin to try this out?
Well, I think part of it is there's some logistical problems and community input. Like, we really need to get the buy-in from the community and make sure that this is something the community wants to do. We have to get permission from parents to really do that. And it's a capacity issue at a school to be able to do that.
When you say logistical issues and capacity, do you mean, I know you mentioned manpower just a few moments ago. Is it that? Is it the supply of tests as well?
Well, just think about if we have a class or two. Let's pretend we have a class or two. Somebody has to administer the test, wait till it comes back, then inform, then quarantine. So there are many different layers to this. And as you know, from the last year and a half, we have made sure that anything we put in place, it can be effective. And what we want to make sure is that we have the staff, that we're not pulling people out of classroom or other duties to be able to do this.
Last week, my colleague Steph Machado reported on a lawsuit that was filed by the city of Providence over school funding. The mayor told Steph that state officials have been, quote, overly generous in interpreting the law to benefit and suit them, and that it has nothing to do with providing high-quality education for our kids. What's your response to that?
So first, it's an ongoing legal matter, but I will tell you that the city has to give its fair share. For the last 6 years, the city has been level funding the school district, as it was stagnant from 2011 to 2017. And when we signed the Crawley Act, we were pretty clear that if we increased the funding at the state level, that the city would have to increase that funding and match it. And that's what we're doing right now, is that we are doing what we said we would do. We would commit. And yes, the mayor says that we use some COVID money, but he has COVID money to do that as well. So there's no better investment than investing in our schools.
I wanted to ask you about teacher absenteeism. It's historically been a very big problem. What are you seeing so far this school year?
So I think it's one of the issues that we've grappled with for a long time, especially in the urban sectors. But right now, it seems to be pretty steady. The districts are doing a great job of getting substitute teachers in place and really supporting one another. And we at RIDE are helping with the substitute pool. But we don't maintain the day-to-day, so it's hard to say what that looks like, the day-to-day attendance. The districts have that, but they have not reported an extreme shortage or extreme absenteeism at this point.
Rhode Island Education Commissioner Angélica Infante-Green, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.